Pale Nation Hangout number 451. Kind of got a couple of people that haven't been around for a while, but yeah, I am your brave host and still reasonably sane individual. I'm Naroki 5. With me tonight are a couple of the usual suspects, and we will introduce them in order because there's a lot of stuff to go. There's a couple of preambles that we're going to do before I actually get into the actual show itself tonight. So without any further ado, V and Rearson are both here. So V, introduce yourself.
Well, I think you already did. I'm V, host of the Red Pill Hardcore Radio Show, which is on hiatus still. I might bring the show back. I think I'm going to have to, especially since I'm now back on my job promoting the new social network, tlbtalk.com. Brand new social network. Get on there. Yeah, so once I get like 1 million people on the network, I think I might start my show again just to be able to handpick my own audience. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, go ahead, Rison.
No pressure at all. Okay. Well, I'm Rearson. I've known Naroki for a long period of over half my life now. God damn. Anyway, that's fine. It is what it is. I have been on a hiatus in the middle of the Bow Valley, for lack of a better way to say it. I'm not going to disclose my location because Lord knows that's going to bite me. It'll come back and bite me in the ass. But I'm no longer in Calgary. I don't want to go back to Calgary, and I would be happy to stay, well, the fuck away from Calgary, but we'll leave that alone. And on that note, Naroki, back to you.
All right, I am your host, again, somewhat sane individual with Naroki 5. For those of you who don't know, I still have
Dude, you're insane for bringing me back on. That's all I'm going to say. You know where this is going to go.
Oh, of course I know that's going to go. That's why I wanted you back on tonight. All right, so
fuck.
Yeah. So anyway, for those of you who don't know, I am Patreon as Naroki 5. I am at, in order of number of subs, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, MGTOW TV, Brighteon, and YouTube. Facebook, Minds, Gab, MeWe, Getter, and TLB Talk. And yes, by the way, I'm also, although there's nobody actually listening right now, I'm also... Oh, wait, just as I said that, somebody jumped onto Twitch. So, yeah, I have one listener on Twitch. There's also Kick, but there's hardly seem to be anybody ever listening who following me on Kick, which is okay. But let's just get into some of the absolutely interesting site news. And I will go from smallest to largest, but I will start out with the fact that BitChute, I officially crossed 200 on BitChute 2 days ago. That
Nice.
Yep. I also 2 days ago checked, and I have officially, and I will be making a special rant towards my special hater tonight because I know this is just going to piss him off royally. I now have a combined moat which is larger than the one that asshole deleted me from on YouTube 2.5 years ago. And by the way, I got there in half the time. Yep, I have now got more followers on a combined moat than I did when I was on YouTube. So there's that. So yeah, and tonight also I took my 40-year clean cake, and I mean I'm going to be doing a couple of commentaries on that before we actually get into the show. But first of all, I'm going to let you know what the topics are. Just giving people a listen, a head up here. Tonight's show is going to be extreme. I won't say extremely, but it's going to be very manosphere heavy. All right. So if your fifis get hurt because we're going to be talking about men's issues, well, you know what? go tell someone who cares, because like I said, Red Pill Nation, one standard, no standard.
Fucking nothing here, folks. When we talk about assless chaps and the Fagor 6969 with the
And Orange
promotional
Man
code
bad, and Orange Man bad handball.
with the promotion code with the Fagor 6969, not only do you get the the purple powder. The purple dildo attachment for those of you who want assless chaps. And only because we're going to do this, just because we can, and we will. Not only will you get the family size Orange Man hand bomb just to lubricate whatever orifice needs to be lubricated, but we will throw in a pair of assless chaps for you and whatever your significant other is. No judgment here, folks. No judgment here, because we have no standards. Just make sure you put in the make sure.
I thought you were a purple plaster. It's making mold.
Well, I suppose it could be the one-eyed purple people eater, but we're not going to go there. Although we already did.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yep. But if you put in the code tonight of no ass 69, we will throw in the assless chaps for you at no charge at all. And on that note, I'm done for now.
Oh yeah, and don't forget tonight we also have a new special product, the Rearson Gimp suit. Yes,
no, we're
right.
not.
Yeah.
No.
No way.
My lawyer said, no, we're not going to do this, and you don't listen.
Oh, okay. So anyway, that's it. So the topics for tonight, and yeah, just so you know, that it is an extremely manosphere. Well, I won't say extremely, but it is definitely a manosphere heavy show. Topic number 1: Australian Feminist Organization Collective Shout manages to get Steam to remove 500 games. 2: Hockey Canada 5 found not guilty Feminist and MSM. This one's got me just fucking pissed off, man. Just giving you a heads up. I might go off on a very long fucking rant on number 2. And MSM lose their minds. Topic number 3: Women's app T hacked for trashing men. For trashing men. I'm going to have to edit that. That one's very interesting. Topic number 4: Columbia University collapses and starts removing students, basically, and taking away diplomas and deporting them and like evicting them and whatever. So yeah, that was a good place to start. Topic number 5: Superman is tanking at the box office, but not for the reasons that you might think, and Fantastic Four surprises in a rather strange way. And topic number 6: Stripe takes its debanking too far when they debank Michael Knowles. Royal Bank in Canada has also ramped up their debanking as well. So yeah, it's a very interesting show we have tonight. I'm just going to go through, because there's a lot of personal stuff that I think I need to comment on tonight. I will first comment on the growth of I will comment on the stuff that is not related to the show. Yes, I took my 40 years clean tonight with AA. I took my 40 years clean yesterday with NA. The irony of the NA Narcotics Anonymous cake is the fact that while I was...
Did you get addicted to the cake? Don't tell me you got addicted.
Yeah, I was addicted to the cake. In fact, there's still half a cake sitting in my fridge right now as we speak. So the other there was an addict like outside out while I was sharing yesterday. Um, and they had to call the ambulance and they had to call the paramedics and they were taking him away while I was sharing on the topic. Now, yeah, I will freely admit I am a member of a recovery group. I am going to probably be in NA and AA until the day I die. Now, if you want to start accusing me of being in a cult or being brainwashed, well, you want to know what? If you count being brainwashed as being turned into a productive, happy, useful human being to society as opposed to, say, an addict or an alcoholic that probably would have died in his early 20s due to his addiction. You can lay that fucking brainwashing on me any day of the week.
Well, that's good that you're not living in Vancouver then, because you'd be fucking dead.
Yep. So yeah, you can lay that brainwashing on me anyway. I'm going through a very difficult period right now, but one of the things, and this is something that somebody at the AA home group reminded me of tonight. It's like there's not a lot of individuals in recovery that even that get 40 years clean and sober. Because the only way you can get that kind of time is to be clean one day at a time, every day for 40 years. There's no recovery fairy that comes out into the open and taps you on the head and gives you 20 years of recovery, right? You have to actually go out and put the time in to get it. I will just say it again. You know what? Lay that brainwashing on me, right? Anybody who tries to claim that the 12-step programs don't work, well, they worked for me. That's really all I need to say about it. If somebody else disagrees with me, well, I really don't give a shit, right?
Go fuck yourself.
Go
Just saying.
fuck yourself. Yeah, basically go fuck yourself. You know what? I mean,
Well, hey, as a guy who actually built his media career on mind control as an expertise, whatever works.
Yep. So I mean, it's like, yeah, yeah. I'm actually proud. I am actually proud of it. And given everything that's currently going on in my life, I will take the win on this. And I'm actually proud to be a member of a couple of 12-step programs. I am proud to be in recovery, and I'm proud of the fact that I got clean. Because I mean, I wouldn't even be alive speaking to you if I hadn't found the fellowship, right? And if that sounds like I'm being brainwashed, I don't fucking care. I don't, right? Your issue with the recovery community is your fucking problem, not mine, right? You can tell me I'm fucking brainwashed till your tongue drops out of your mouth. It's not going to change what I'm, at least right here, right now. It's not going to change anything about what I say or do.
Well,
You know what?
you call it a cult, and it is a cult. But then again, Christianity used to be a cult.
Yeah, it's like you know
religions
what?
are
It's like I will freely admit I'm brainwashed. I was brainwashed and fooled and manipulated into becoming a productive, happy member of fucking society. Yeah.
Are you a happy member of society right now, Naroki? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, I want to know.
Well, I mean, the Orange Man hand bomb has actually taken away a lot of the tension.
Right on cue.
Wow.
Yeah, right on cue. Okay, so that takes care of that. If you're somebody that's in recovery and listening to this, yeah, I don't usually go into detail about this particular aspect of my life because it's not really relevant. If you think that coming over and rubbing my face in this particular thing is going to somehow make me feel bad or unworthy, you're wrong. Okay? Like, you're dead wrong. Go be stupid somewhere else. All right? Now, the next topic. Okay, I crossed 200 with BitChute, and I have officially surpassed the subtotal that I had on YouTube when a certain individual, who still, by the way, likes to hate listen to my content from time to time.
Just change your last name, whoever you are, to Dumas, not
Yeah,
Dumas, as in French, as in dumbass, because
dumbass.
you are a dumbass.
Okay, I mean, like over. I mean, I'm talking specifically to you, this particular hater. You had such a fucking hard on for wanting to get me off of YouTube that you had a channel, my second channel, had 9 followers on it, and you took it down. 9 followers. You know, over the period of time that I have been in recovery, that I have been on here, you have reported. You've tried to multi-report me on Rumble. You've tried to hack my Odyssey twice. You have gone on to MGTOW TV and tried to mass hate vote my site like 3 or 4 times. You basically have tried taking runs at me, and you've even tried. I think you've even tried a couple times on YouTube. The only problem is that it's like YouTube. My YouTube count, by the way, at this point, I will just take a quick. I'll just take a quick percentage. Take a look at what the total is for right now.
Where's my head, Bob? I feel
It's
all
it's
that your
it's
expression.
Yeah, it's 8% of my YouTube comprises 8% of my following. So yeah, you want to report my fucking YouTube? Be my goddamn guest, you fucking moron, right? Like, it's not gonna really do you any good because you're not really doing the damage that you think you're doing. And I know that pisses you off. I know for a fact that really, really pisses you off because, I mean, you obviously had such a stick up your ass about me that, I mean, again, right, you took the time to go after my account on YouTube when I had 9 followers. 9.
Or had a hard on the size of fucking Florida for your in through the outdoor,
Yep.
shall we say. Yep.
So, yeah, feel free to hate. You this time, dude, you're not shutting me off. And like I have said on my opening, by the way, yeah, that is the other thing I'm going to announce. I am actually kind of working on a bumper opening for my for the show. That might be incoming here. I have some personal issues that I have some stuff that I have to take care of. And Rusin knows a few of what's going on. A couple of things. As soon as those issues are resolved, and they will, and I am going to resolve them, we will move. I will move on to something. I will move on to getting the content up, and yeah, I'm going to take the anger of this particular situation, and the best form of revenge you can possibly have is to go and be successful despite the issues that other people throw at you.
Oh, I was going to say murdering his children.
No. The best form of revenge I've noticed is to go out and to be successful and have a happy life despite what these individuals do. Right? This channel is
I will agree with that one.
Yep. So yeah, BitChute is at 200. Rumble is going to be at 200 here, possibly even before the end of the month. Yes, I am by the way, the reason why you haven't seen 49 and 50 loaded up is I'm having to, and this is part of the discussion I've been having with V, because I mean, I did want to do that P. Diddy episode, but I'm going through some serious stuff right now, and I need to focus on that. And I need to get that stuff resolved before I actually. So it's going to be the RPN until at least the employment situation resolves itself to a satisfactory degree. Now, let me just for God's sake. Okay, here, let me just timestamp this, and then we will get into the actual show itself. Okay, so the first topic is there was Steam, who has not really been all that big on being censorious and whatever, was forced to remove about 500 games off of its site. And they've gone over and they've targeted some of the site there. And they are using Stripe to do this, by the way. And I will get, which is, by the way, why topic number 2 in regard to Michael Knowles is going to be so interesting, because, I mean, that's going to be a very, very specific issue here. Is that
is that a pay service?
Stripe, yeah, Stripe is like PayPal.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay,
yeah. Right, so yeah, they used Stripe to try to get games removed off of the Steam platform because they were quote unquote sexist or offensive or whatever. Here's the thing, right? They're making some serious attempts to do this. What they're also trying to do in this particular case is that they're trying to do this as anonymously as humanly possible, right? Any publication or any reporter that reports on their activities ends up getting a letter from a lawyer telling them to cease and desist. This is how bad it's gotten with the wokesters and everything. They can't just they're quietly gloating about this, but they're not strutting out. They're not doing what Anita Sarkeesian would be doing, which is basically strolling out into the open and acting like they own the place anymore. They're being very quiet about it. They're making sure that they stay anonymous about it. The only problem is, though, is that, I mean, this was too big of a hit for people to not notice. And people have noticed. They might be able to pull they might be able to pull this off via Stripe or PayPal once or twice, but what's basically going to happen is that they're going to have first of all, a lot of these games might just get posted up somewhere else, or B, after Collective Shout turns its back, these individuals might just try and load up the game under a different name or under a different context anyway. So, I mean, the issue here is that probably one of the reasons why Collective Shout is trying to stay so quiet and so anonymous about this particular issue is the fact that they can't really these feminist organizations these anti-gaming organizations, and they found this out the hard way via Sweet Baby. They cannot come out into the open. If they come out into the open, they're gonna get absolutely massacred, and it is probably going to happen with Collective Shout at some point anyway. Because people now, some of the bigger ones, I mean, Jeremy Hembling, for instance, has pointed out, it's like, yeah, you know what? By all means, Collective Shout, hit me with a lawsuit. Threaten me with a lawsuit. All that's going to do is just make me want to produce, and that's eventually what's going to happen. You also have a violation of the First Amendment with this. Now, are some of these games bad, sexist, or whatever? I really have no idea. I don't, because I'm not that big of a gamer. I mean, Civilization and Fallout Las Vegas seem to be good enough for me to keep me occupied when I actually do have the time to game, which is not very often. And you know, I've got my own kind of text-based game that I will play as well, of my own creation. So, you know, this is not a long-term strategy. Also, and when I get into topic number 2, you know, like the use of these payment platforms to engage in censorship for the globalists and the far left. At some point, I'm having to assume that somebody within the Trump administration is going to take notice if they haven't taken notice already. So, you know, whatever's going to happen here, it's probably, I mean, yeah, okay, congratulations, you got you got Steam to bend the knee, right? Now you've got the anti-gaming press, and of course, Kotaku fucking did a massive simp article about Collective Shout, which of course is what Kotaku does because they're fucking weak-kneed pussies, right? But I know I shouldn't candy coat things quite so much, but yeah, that's basically it. You know, because there's a lot to cover tonight, and so with that, I'm going to turn it over to V so he can have his say.
Mm-hmm. Have my say. Yeah, well, how do these feminists even know about Steam? I mean, that's a gamer's safe haven. You know, I've had a Steam account since I was 17 years old. I am now 39. So, yeah, 22 years now. So, I don't see it. Even though I haven't logged on in about maybe a year and a half, I've been occupied with other things. But last time I was on Steam, you know, I'm bombarded with sex games, ads for sex games. Uh, if is that the target of these feminists, the sex games?
I am going to have to assume that, yeah, that is their target.
Okay, because there's a ton of on there.
You kinky bastard! You didn't tell us.
Well,
And you complain and you bitch about me with gimsuits. Fuck you, both
hey,
of you.
I'm just targeted. I actually downloaded one game because it had Hitler in it. It was like Hitler in it. I downloaded it as see what it was about because it seemed like a joke game. It was a joke game. Ha ha ha, funny. And you know, I deleted it. Next thing you know, every 3 games I'm suggested is a sex game. So hey,
Did you pay for the game or?
no free
Okay,
demo.
so you were the product. Oh snap!
Yeah,
And on that
yes.
note, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up for a little while.
Yeah. No, come on. If you see some of this that has like Hitler on it and like some sex, whatever, you're gonna click on it. It's a game. Come on, you're gonna see. You're gonna want to see what the joke's about. Yeah. So I guess that was just sort of the trap. Yeah, it sort of pulled me in. But yeah. 500 games. That's a lot. And I would say if you're targeting Steam and those all came off Steam, then they probably got the lion's share of these sex games off then. Uh, I know they're not going after Tomb Raider or uh,
You mean Boob Raider? when Laura Croft had titties.
Oh, hey, speaking of Boob Raider, I actually found the Destiny Dixon porn parody of Tomb
Oh,
Raider.
oh God. No,
And
no, no, no. Ah.
Yep,
Oh,
I did. I have
I'm
found
good.
the I found the I found I did I yeah.
Did you come across it?
how did
Oh, come on, guys! Like you damn well know there'd be a porn parody
Oh,
of Tomb Raider.
oh, I need a cigarette.
Already, I mean, come on. There are ads. There are ads, nonstop ads with Tomb Raider style knockoff, like 3D adult stuff.
Not
Like,
knocking it off, are we?
like the past 20 years. You can't. I can't go. I used to not be able to open up my torrent client without the damn ads flashing at the bottom.
Uh huh.
You know, yeah. Come on. Yeah, of course. Of course, it's gonna be a rule 34. Come on.
Rule 34. And what's that?
If anybody, if it exists, porn has been made out of it. Never did. Rule
Well,
30.
we did do a full report on the Captain Marvel parody.
Oh, yes, we did. And
Yeah, Nihilist gave it 4 social diseases out of 5.
four,
Communicable.
four strokes out of 5. Oh, good lord.
It's
Monetization.
actually
Yay.
not a. It's yeah. It was actually. I mean, I downloaded it for research purposes, and my
Yeah.
wrist
For,
has not been the same ever since. But yeah, no. Captain Marvel in that movie she had a smoking hot body and everything. So yeah. Um, but yeah, so somehow this whole conversation devolved into a conversation about porn parodies. So Rearson,
Shocker.
you're up.
Oh, fuck. All right. So we're talking about video gaming, right?
Yeah, we're talking about a collective shout getting 500 adult games or sexist games deleted from Steam. Is what it boils down to.
Well, I can't say that I don't disagree with that whole idea. And don't get me wrong, I have needs. Every man on the planet has needs. Women don't know what they need, but we'll leave that alone because I'm sure we'll get into that kind of conversation soon enough. I mean, Steam seems to be the Google or the Google Play of online gaming. I mean, you can put whatever you want together and you can throw it out there. I don't know what the requirements on Steam are to be able to publish a game such as it is, nor do I really honestly care. Now, the AI virtual uh, the virtual world, whatever you want to call it, it's gotten better because I mean, I don't know about V, but between Hiroki and myself, we grew up on money for nothing, and that was a big breakthrough, huge breakthrough at the time for graphic animation. I mean, well, actually, let's go back before that. The only thing I could think of before that was big was Tron
I mean,
as a movie.
good times, and chicks are free.
Damn it, damn it, damn. I'll learn that riff one of these days. Money for nothing. Your chicks for free. Not in this day and age. That don't exist anymore, folks. But we'll get into that kind of crap as well too, because the manosphere is just loaded, just like the women wanted their men to be loaded, and every other guy that's out there is it's invisible at best. Anyway, with the constant improvement, what the hell is going on here? Sorry. Don't be surprised if I may duck out tonight only because I don't want to, because of external weather conditions. Anyway, given the evolution of CGI, and then I'm not talking about the like the Episode 1 of Star Wars with Jar Jar Binks sort of thing, which was great for its time. Not the character itself, but but what was available if you had the funding to spend on it. And because for me personally, I just cannot get into this. Even working with AI on unresolved issues with women from my past, I could provide as much information as I can, and it will come up with scenarios. And it basically comes down to, do you want to role play? And it just, no, I can't do this. And I can't. I mean, I have a difficult enough time, not a hard time, but a difficult enough time with censored, Japanese porn. So, with that being said for me, and I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but the more fake something is, the more I have to role play or get into the mood or whatever, the more detached I become, because that's just not who I am. It's not who I'm going to be, and it's not who I want to be. Now, for the guys that are into that sort of thing, fine. You know what? Whatever. Knock yourself out. Buy whatever you will want to buy on Steam. That's fine. No judgment here, and I mean that honestly. But for Steam to purge that from their platform, I don't think it's a bad thing. I really don't. And maybe it will start to make some, I'm not expecting a very large percentage, if it hits even 10% of the people that have bought that kind of 10% of the targeted audience, that they're going to start to wake up and realize, this really doesn't work out for me anymore. If it doesn't, great. If it does, well, keep doing what you're doing.
You damn social.
Sorry?
Damn socialist. Left wing.
Shut up, Eve. Shut up. Anyway. If this is the path to recovery in 1, 2, 3, or 4, or plus whatever, I don't know, forms or another, then yes, it's not a bad thing. In fact, I consider this to actually be a good thing. So, I suppose in the sense it's been a long time, not coming, but coming, that at some point Steam would have to do something along those lines. And here we are. So I don't have anything more to say on this one. So Nerking, V, unless you want to be chomping at the bit.
No, I'm actually not chomping at the bit of it. Well, V sounds like he is though. So,
Well, who's coming then?
Not me, because my pants are still on. Yeah, yes, I went there. Don't care.
Long time coming. How long did it take you to come? You got someone say love you long time?
It all depends on the woman. That's all. I'm
don't forget, recent hasn't been doing that. But I mean, I brought up the concept of model media Asia to him
Oh,
about a
dude,
week ago,
yeah,
and those Asian women in that particular that particular site are.
I haven't seen any carpet munching, and I'm disappointed.
And there's been no carpet munching, but goddamn, those are some of the most well built Asian fucking women I have ever seen, man.
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
And it's not Japan either, so they're not censoring out the goody parts either.
no, no, they're Taiwanese. I actually found out that South Korea is even more prudish than Japan isn't.
Yeah, no, Japan's kind of strange. Obviously, Taiwan is not, and god damn it, like where are they finding those women, right? Because like even like a lot of the women that come over to North America, they still look stereotypically Asian, right? Like there's one at a grocery store that I went to yesterday, uh,
Even
and
even hoes have to eat, and I'm not talking dick or
yep. So and
things like that.
she was working in the bakery department, and Steve's left or right hand would have started shaking uncontrollably if she saw this woman. She had a rockin' fucking Western body, and she was definitely Asian, right? She was definitely Oriental.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, and that's the type of women you get on Model Media Asia, which is kind of really weird. And we're just totally off fucking topic again.
Shocker on that one.
Yeah. So with that, I am going to move on to this one. This we're talking about play payment platforms again. Here's another one. Okay, and this time we are also again talking about Stripe. We are talking about Stripe again. Took down Stripe took down Michael Knowles' account several months ago during the peak of the during the peak of the Trump campaign, and they never gave him a reason why, and he's been pushing on it and pushing on it and pushing on it, and Stripe has refused to come clean about it. The only problem is that this is not 2016 or even 2020. If you do that now, right? Um, I'm I've got a very given the fact that I have some very odd. I got some very strange questions about the Daily Wire, but I'm going to have to imagine that the management staff at the Daily Wire has definitely got some direct contact with the White House itself. Now, I didn't know exactly when this was going to happen, but I knew at some point, you know, that because they're losing everywhere, right? I mean, we got it when I was discussing Collective Shout, I pointed out quite true too that unlike say back in the Gamergate days a decade ago, Collective Shout is doing everything it can to stay as much under the radar as humanly possible, including resorting to lawsuits of journalists and whatnot that report on their activities, which tells me that they cannot come out into the open. And one of the few tactics they have left is, and you have Stripe and PayPal, which are the big two in terms of payment providers. Stripe has always been the one that has responded the easiest to woke pressure. And okay, when we also get into this, I will get into RBC here at some point when we get down. When we get, I think what where do I get into RBC? Where do I get into RBC? Is it this one? Yeah, it is. Trying to remember where it is. Okay, well, all right. Well, we'll get into RBC. Is that the other issue that is coming up with debanking is Royal Bank of Canada. Royal Bank of Canada has started going around debanking individuals who were politically opposed to the Liberal government, which, by the way, just happened to include the lawyers that were defending Tamara Lich and the other people that were responsible for the Freedom Convoy. So, yeah, again, I'm not overly surprised that Mark Carney. I have very, very strong, because it's only RBC that's doing this. It's not Bank of Montreal. It's not Scotiabank. It's not Toronto Dominion. It is only RBC. And I would be kind of curious to see who is on the Royal Bank board, and trying to find out if they have some type of a connection to Mark Carney and the Liberal Party, which wouldn't surprise me at all, since Royal Bank is definitely linked up, is definitely got much closer ties to the government of Britain than, say, Bank of Montreal or Scotiabank or Toronto Dominion or any of those other banking institutions that currently exist. And again, maybe not so much in Canada, but definitely down in the U.S. They're probably going to have they are going to have to start there are a bunch of electronic sites on the internet that are going to have to be targeted and going to have to be their feet are going to have to be put to the fire. Payment providers are at the top of that list. Certain social media sites are also on the list. There's a few surprises in there. Quora is on that list. Reddit. Where's that noise coming from?
Huh?
Okay, no, sorry. There was a bunch of tins rattling and so forth. Wikipedia is on that list. Quora is on that list. Reddit is definitely on that list. There's a bunch of social media sites that have got an extremely left-wing bent. And at some point, maybe not right away, because they're not the biggest, obviously they're not the biggest priority right now, but at some point, some attention is probably going to get turned to these particular sites. But I mean, if I was going to target a group right away that I would probably go after first, it would be the payment providers. Not so much PayPal, but definitely Stripe, because I'm just gonna fucking say it, man. If you want a payment provider, stay the fuck away from Stripe. What's been happening with Michael Knowles is that they have been making a bunch of claims about Michael Knowles, but they've been giving him really vague, in like vacuous answers as to why they debanked him. And again, Michael Knowles, though, and again, this is not 2020, this is not 2017, this is not 2014, right? Like, these internet weirdos now actually have some substantial influence, right? The people in the White House and people in corporate America and definitely the alt media are paying attention to this. So if the payment providers think that they're in a position, and again, we all know, although I can't necessarily prove it, I have a very strong suspicion that BlackRock might be tied into Stripe. I am not sure. Rierson used to be really good at figuring out who the majority stockholders were. If Rierson feels like looking that up, well, I allow V to go off on his spiel. He might be able to provide us with that information. But yeah, they've been really pushing hard on the payment providers lately.
I need a target.
Yep. Stripe is the target. Like, who are the stock owners of the Stripe payment system? It's the other alternative to PayPal. So I mean, at some point they are going to start going after the payment providers. I'm not necessarily right away, but if they continue to abuse the payment providers, that is exactly what's going to happen. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah, well, you know, I would rather like to speak about my experiences, than to have a baseless opinion. So yes, I have experience with this one. I was debanked by PayPal, and before I continue on, just a refresher for anybody who doesn't know or doesn't remember, I am what you are would call a targeted individual. I've been targeted by the government covertly, uh, and that does things. Uh, when you become a target of the government, it's a it's usually by the NSA, and they put programs onto you that make life difficult. They have to try to make you. They come after your resources. They come after your relationships. They come after your residences, even your conveyance. Uh, so, um, I've had instances where it's just like they have to. They try to stifle you. Try to stop you from being able to make moves to get ahead. Right. So with my company, TLB Talk, with our social network, tlbtalk.com, something I came up with was the affiliate program, which is basically to have people hired on to advertise and to get donations for the site. And the requirement for that is to have a PayPal account or a Stripe, something that you get your money. Uh, you get paid for advertising, and it's like I must. It's my program. I might as well jump in it and lead by example. And I made a PayPal account, and boom, instantly, so I got a notification. Your PayPal account is suspended for 6 months with no explanation as to why. Now, me personally, I do know why. It's because these corrupt feds, again, they have to get in the way of me making money somehow. Every month is a struggle because they're trying to come up with a way to cut me off from my money in some way or another. So it's and it's just the covert harassment is when you've got people on board or people that can be co-opted, companies that can be co-opted. Yeah, it's just no surprise when one of these corporations become someone's weapon. It's rather ridiculous. So it doesn't surprise me at all whatsoever. So, anyways, Rison, you find out who owns Stripe?
Well, among other people, Elon Musk at some point did have, Peter Thiel did have. I come across one interesting entity, which is Sequoia, and they are in. Where the hell was it again? Hold on. Oh, sorry. Stripe seems to be headquartered in da, 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 San Francisco. And assuming that the corporate makeup and mentality hasn't changed, yeah, they're not going to be terribly happy with someone like Andrew Knowles or whatever the fucker's name is from Daily Wire. I don't necessarily agree with him. Actually, I don't agree with him, but he is who he is, and to me, this all comes across as being basically nothing but a shell game. So, I mean, again, at the end of the day, Andrew Knowles has never really been able to define what is a woman, much like Matt Walsh. Or if they have been wanting to do so, they don't stand on their own two damn feet for very long because just like a two-legged stool, all it's going to take is not a very difficult wind of change to push that person over. And again, we have said this before on the RPN Hangout, but how much funding from U.S. aid has been diverted to the Daily Wire? Because it seems a bit of a strange coincidence that once U.S. aid was exposed for being, well, having a really strong sense of lack of integrity, that all of a sudden the Daily Wire now seems to be hurting for money. So, I don't know. Take that however you will. To me, this whole thing with Andrew Knowles and Stripe is just nothing but, I don't know. To me, it is really nothing more than a distraction to try to have conservatives jumping off the deep end and I don't know, just trying to attack anything that could be protective of them, like a good lord, take whatever group pronoun, honestly and collectively speaking, like a pot of whales or a pride of lions or a murder of crows. You know, keep those people together, have them focused on the enemy, and you know, see what comes out of all of it. So to me, Knowles is well. I really can't say cannot say it any other way except Knowles to me is bought and paid for opposition. I mean, when was the last time that at the Daily Wire, Knowles or Shapiro or Ben Walsh or whoever else actually stood for something? Because those fuckers, those assholes, will be pretty quick to use their wife or their wives for having their fingers wet, sticking those fingers into the wind, and to see which way the wind blows. Yes, I went there, and guess what? I don't give a fuck, because I don't. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised as well, too, that I'm probably not far from the mark on that one. So, as Naroki had said at least a couple of years ago, follow the money and you'll see where they're going. Am I saying that Andrew Knowles or Knowles from the Daily Wire is in on it? I can't say with any conclusive evidence. Would I be surprised personally? No, I wouldn't. I mean, it really will take a lot for me to be put into a state of shock and awe. Oh my God, I can't believe they fucking did this. Well, actually, I can, but no one will listen to him. So that's fine. Whatever. So again, folks, Stripe is headquartered in San Francisco. And if those fudge packers and carpet munchers have a problem with someone like Andrew Knowles, then you know what? Yeah, go ahead. Do what you're going to do because you're going to do it anyway. And then sit down and shut the fuck up when things start to backfire because people are tired of your crap. So I got nothing more to say.
Can we sidebar here for a second?
Sure.
How come no one can define what a woman is? Can either of you define what a woman is?
Natural tits, natural ass, pussy, gives birth, has a fucking problem once every has a problem once a week every 4 fucking weeks, is emotionally unstable, will be happy to throw your vulnerabilities back in your face because she's just waiting to hit you with that shit and then some. Does that sum it up?
The shit test for me, 2 X chromosomes. That's a woman.
Well, okay, so those are nice attributes, but the definition.
Oh, you want to know what a woman is? Go take a look at the screen right now. That's a woman.
Okay, what we got? What we got?
Destiny Dixon as Lara Croft.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes, those are fake titties. I don't give a shit.
I don't care about the fake tits. I'm looking at the ink that will never go away naturally.
Well, anyways, the definition's in the name. The name's in the definition. Okay. Whoa, man. It's a man with a woman. That's what a woman is.
As per Bill Cosby, I know that skit.
Sketch?
Skit, not sketch. Skit.
Skit. There's no skit. Oh, there's Bill Cosby skit based on this?
Oh yeah, that's where. Oh, good God. Okay, I will find that and I will send it to you privately.
From textbook research. I had not from some comedy special. But okay, yeah. Anyways, I just want to throw that out there, just in case people are just so damn confused. What a woman is. Anyways.
Well, okay. Well, what's a woman? Well, a woman is not a man, and a man is not a woman.
Unless they're fluid.
No. Okay. No. Okay. All right. By chromosomal definition, what is a woman? XX. What is anything but XX? Not a woman.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Am I wrong? I don't think so. I know I'm not wrong. Anyway.
Well, there are some that are, what was it, XXY?
Well, I've heard of like triple X, and I'm not talking porn. I'm talking about an anomaly within the female genome, where they're basically hyper feminine.
Yeah.
How far into the discussion or conversation do you want to go? Because I really don't want to go there.
Yeah, well, those chicks might be alien or alien or something. Who knows?
Fuck right now. Anything. Well, I'm not gonna fuck anything, but anything is fucking possible.
Righto. All right.
Okay. Anyway, I'm done.
Okay, so yep. Let's move. This next one, by the way, I'm going. I'm going to apologize right away. I might get really, like, seriously angry at this next one. This is just absolutely. I mean,
Your panties are gonna, your panties are will turn into a dildo, and it's gonna go up your ass and vigorously massage you.
well, it's just the absolute like. I'm just gonna. I'll just get into the basics of it. Was a trial of five now made most of them were in the NHL at this point, but at the World Juniors in, I think it was
Oh
2018 or
fuck!
2019,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
22-year-old girl met up with a group of about 5 World Junior players and had a fucking gangbang with them. One of the guys,
Oh
and this
fuck!
ended up being the saving grace for them. One of the guys was smart enough to get his phone out and get her to concede that she agreed to this. Even with that, even though that was basically like consent at that point, the police, the RCMP, and the media decided to take these 5 guys. Like, none of these guys are like me. Like, none of these guys are like Carter Hart is what the closest to an established NHL player. He was like the starting goaltender for the Philadelphia Flyers, and you can see him in the photos right now, on the screen right now. 4 of the other 5 were playing in the league, but they weren't star players, basically. Like, they were roster guys, right? Um, they obviously, pending the trial, got their contracts suspended and whatever. The trial went forward, and here's the thing: even because in Canada, what they have is they changed the. I call it the John Gomez statute, where the rules of discovery in sexual assault cases are really slanted very, very strongly in the in favor of the accuser. And by the way, there's another photo of Destiny Dixon for you to all drool over for a few minutes. The Yep, yep. So the whole thing with this is that, based on the amount of kicking and screaming that feminists were doing, and the amount of publicity that several outlets in the mainstream media were doing, they really wanted these 5 to be fucking guilty. Like, they wanted them to be guilty so bad. Uh the prosecuting side had to have seen the confession tape, and they chose to make up a story that tried to make 2 plus 2 equal 5. And of course, when the girl went up on the stand and testified, she got absolutely destroyed, right? And it's what really gets to me about this particular situation is, like, apparently with this group, not guilty is apparently not guilty. Now, I have heard comparisons to Cosby, who and which is not actually a fair comparison, because these 5 players did not drug her. She was intoxicated, yeah, but you know they got the videotape evidence of her consenting. What they did, though, is that they tried to compare this to O.J. Simpson, except, of course, that these were not star players. And they tried to say that Gary Bettman ran block for them. Well, then, Gary
Somebody.
Bet.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Somebody,
Sorry. Sorry.
what's going on?
Yeah. Let me just finish. Sorry. This one's a little bit. This one's a little bit disgusting with me. Honestly, it is. They tried to say that Gary Bettman made bribes, and it's like, okay, I might see Gary Bettman making bribes if a guy like, say, Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews or Cale Makar or Nathan McKinnon or one of those players got himself in trouble. Gary Bettman is not going to risk the reputation of the NHL on fringe and just regular roster players. Like, it's not going to happen. They also tried to claim that the defense tampered with the jury. What ended up happening here is that there was such a problem with trying to get they literally took one. I think they took one jury pool and they literally could not get 12 jurors out of it. And then they tried to get a second jury pool and they still couldn't get 12 jurors out of it. So they had to go with a bench trial. The other part on this is that it was a female judge too, so they can't claim that this was misogyny on the part of the judge ruling on the case. But here's the thing: the prosecutors saw the confession tape and they chose to go ahead with this anyway, which probably strongly suggests that this was politically motivated. Also, the rules of discovery in Canada around rape trials are different than they are in most of the rest of the world. First, you have the classic rape shield laws, but what they've also got are rules of discovery, meaning that the defense has to provide the prosecution with all of the defense materials, including the confession tape, right? That enables the prosecution to make up a story post getting all of this to basically change the narrative of the story, which is exactly what they tried to do. Even with all of that evidence, even with everything, including trying to garner public opinion, having protests, which I suspect may have been astroturf, having a lot of the mainstream media, and by the way, of course, the Toronto Star was one of the absolute worst of them, right? But CTV, CBC, like all of the major networks, all of them. Oh, now let me finish, because this is,
Okay.
let me just finish on this. All of them, they did everything they could to try to get a guilty verdict, and he was found not guilty. Even though they were found not guilty, somehow not guilty is still guilty with these fucking idiots.
OJ.
Yep. There's no reasonable comparison with Bill Cosby or O.J. Simpson or anybody. Bettman would not, but I mean, it's like the amount of doubling down. And the thing that really blows my mind are the number of feminists on Instagram and Twitter and probably Blue Sky and Threads and whatever but in particular, when you go to Twitter and these people post up about the Hockey Canada trial, if they leave their comment sections open, they get absolutely destroyed because, like the evidence is really clear, right? And it's like, oh, well, they're not guilty. That doesn't mean they're innocent. Yeah, that means they're not guilty, right? Not guilty is not guilty, right? The woman, even though she participated in the prosecution of these six players, is still allowed to hide behind the rape shield law. It's very, very obvious from the way that the mainstream media has been acting around this particular issue is that they wanted to get a guilty verdict, or they had an AstroTurf plan in place, probably to platform some stuff against the manosphere or to try to attack. Basically, what they tried to do with that, what they also did in Britain with that one woman who disappeared there, and they had all those AstroTurf protests in London over her disappearance. What they're going to probably try to do is they were going to try to AstroTurf this guilty verdict, if they had been found guilty, into some type of way of bringing an online misogyny act into Canada. It didn't work, but they're going ahead and they're trying to do it anyway. It's not working because, again, this is not 2017, which is when Jean Gomeshi had his trial, or sorry, 2016, which is when Jean Gomeshi had his trial. It's 2025. There's an alt media. They don't have control of Twitter. They don't even really have that much control over Instagram or Facebook. They do have some outlets in the mainstream media that will quite happily stooge out for them. But bottom line is that there's just too many individuals that are like challenging the narrative now for them to actually control the entire discussion. And again, much like it is with Collective Shout, they don't have they're having, when they step out into the open like this, they're getting absolutely massacred, which is why Collective Shout, who we talked about earlier tonight, is trying really desperately to stay in the background, because if they step out into the open, they're getting massacred. Like, for instance, the Toronto Star made a story about these five hockey players and basically tried to imply that they were guilty. And it's like they're like on the Twitter thread, they're like being destroyed. Like, I myself, and this is something that has come up quite frequently with a lot of feminists on Twitter, in particular on Twitter, not so much on Instagram, but definitely on Twitter, is what they will do is that they will make these big, stunning, big, bold statements about how guilty these players are, but they will either not allow comments at all, or they will limit comments. But even when they limit comments, it's like you can still either A, screen save their bullshit and call them out on your site, or B, you can retweet their comments and they have a comment on there calling them out on it. But I mean, I've encountered probably 5 or 6 feminists doing that. Bottom line is it's not working very well. Obviously, the NHL is going to have their own look into this, but I mean, ultimately, the NHL Players Association has already gone on the record as to saying it's like, yeah, not guilty is not guilty. You know, like, you cannot, if they're not going to have any type of a legal standing to try and block these players from playing. Because it's like, if they do, they leave themselves open to lawsuits. And that is exactly what's going to happen if Bettman tries to block their return to the NHL. It might take another season or two, but it will happen. Just like what happened with Trevor Bauer. At some point, Trevor Bauer is going to be readmitted into Major League Baseball, because I mean, like, it was very obvious that was a false accusation. Yeah, something is definitely going to break here, but it's like, I'm just going to say it. It looks very much like there was a government entity that was trying to platform this Hockey Canada trial into something. And I suspect it was probably another version of online misogyny, which is what they've got over in Britain. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah, well, well, you know, if the condom doesn't fit, you must quit. Okay, that's what I say.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
Oh, I'm just trying to make some parallels here. O.J. Simpson trial. Oh, wow,
Alrighty then.
it's just, hey, it's What are the 5 condoms say to the face? Ah, anyways, I crack myself up sometimes. Yeah, I know. I think you said everything that needs to be said already, Naroki. I just, I'm glad. Yeah, this guy had the wherewithal to pull out his phone and record the fact that this woman gave consent. Uh, it is so very important. Uh, I think we need apps now. You know, we should have like like apps where we were dating, whatever. You know, we're just thumbprint here on this on your on my profile here. Saying gave consent. You know, this is your ID, right? Yeah, okay, thumbprint. And just did the whole workup. Since the government has to get in the personal sexual lives of people with laws and everything, well then you gotta have ways to protect yourself. So yeah, I would take it so much further than just whipping out a phone. Uh, I would have made her describe the act that she wanted to do. I would have made her talk about how much she loved it. I would have by by some time later, I would have had her begging for it. All for record's sake. I mean, that's that's the kind of guy I am. I mean, I was PUA. I'm not. I don't get rape. For me, the idea of a woman who is disgusted with me or just doesn't want to have anything to do with me, I find myself disgusted with them. I, I'm the prize. Okay, and if you don't want any of this, well then, you can go somewhere else. I don't see Natalia forcing a woman to give up their body for my pleasure. It's it's really the other way around. You gotta deserve this. You gotta. You want me to call you back tomorrow? Yeah. Okay. Well, be good tonight then. So, yeah. So I don't know. Dudes need to get more into that mentality. I mean, a 5 guy on a chick gangbang. I mean, whatever. I guess it sounds like fun, but yeah, no. She got to be desired. It's got to be obvious, and be out in public. Oh yeah, that chick was all over this guy. Oh yeah. I was just looking at on the news about this college kid, right? He was being chased around like all night throughout this bar by this one woman. She was all over him. She wouldn't leave him alone. The cameras outside when we were leaving. She was trying to give him head then on the sidewalk. But she later on, called the police on him for rape. Destroyed his college career. Even after all the video evidence came out and he was proven innocent, he was still not allowed back at his college. So it's these women, men. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You're overwhelmed by a woman in a situation. Take 5 minutes. Pull out your phone. Spank one out. Have that post nut clarity. Then go approach that woman. see if you think the same. Do you have to have her? Is she the bee's knees, the object of your eye? Your passion that you were born for. If not, ditch the. I'm not gonna cuss. Ditch the female. All right. Save yourself some time. Save yourself some trouble. Because you don't want to have to deal with them. You don't want to have to deal with the government. You don't have to deal with your employers. You don't want to have to deal with society based on something that you did or most likely did not do. And with that, I'll pass on to Anderson.
I'm going to go back to something that I brought up, or I have talked about numerous times. When it comes to the Canadian government and the funding, or shall we say the quote fortification or unquote of independent, of Canadian media outlets. And that was back in late 2018. Justin Trudeau basically said we're going to be giving out $600 million worth of financial support, funding, whatever you want to call it, for Canadian news outlets, newspapers, and whatever else. And again, you cannot tell me that there were no strings attached to that kind of funding, because there is going to be. And I don't care what branch, which side of the aisle you're on, far right, far left.
Somebody's gonna have to.
Sorry?
Somebody's gonna have to give him head.
Well, then grateful, my opinion, half Cuban bastard is no longer around, and I'm just waiting for a funny kind of confession from him soon enough. Anyway, at the end of the day, when the federal government is going to be deciding if they want to provide your outlet, not you specifically, V, but someone such as myself who would be much more inclined to be advocating for the truth, no matter how much it may hurt, rather than what is most politically expedient and will be able to get the most clicks. So to me, this whole thing being what it is, it really feels like it's nothing more than a sham, and really a big fucking scam to try to get the people, not necessarily the women or the likely biological females, but to get as many biological males behind the idea as possible, because you're a guy and what you do is wrong. Your feelings are wrong. Your urges are incredibly wrong. Blah, 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 blah. Fucking blah. And I just don't have the time for this shit anymore. I really don't. I mean, it's... to me, it is so contrived. It is so fake. There is the... It really almost feels like you're watching again and again and again and again and again the news reporters or the journalists, whatever you want to call them, in the Batman series of movies, where they got more and more and more campy and over the top and just everything you could think about the media being scuzzy and slimy and whatever else. I'm sorry, people. Actually, no, I'm not sorry at all. But to me, that's what I see going on here. So the fact that they're screaming, whoever they are, that they are screaming for blood and they want justice and in a manner that only suits them rather than it actually being the system that, in my opinion, should be about applying a set standard as much across the board as possible. And if you deviate from that set standard, then yes, you should be prosecuted. But they don't do that here. Not in Canada. I mean, would I be terribly surprised that the federal government under the Carney administration and what would have been the Trudeau administration would have been doing everything possible to make these 5 men guilty just because if you get one person, if you have one case where it could be applied in a multitude of possible civil or criminal lawsuit cases, it is going to start to fall apart. I wish that wasn't the case, but let's be honest, folks. To me, that's what it is, and that's what it's going to be, unless things change. So these 5 men have my individual moral support, but again, considering where I live now, I'm pretty much out of the equation, and I'm happy to stay out of the equation because I don't want to deal with this crap anymore. I'm just so fucking tired of it. So when Hiroki had informed me of this being one of the topics, I was like, yeah. I don't want to be in the receiving end. They have my moral support, but that's as far as it's going to go. I mean, this absolute fucking stupidity of what this province, not Alberta, but as to what Canada has turned into, I'm fucking done. I really am. That's all I got. And, and that really is all that I've got. My tank is empty, gentlemen. I have got to sign out for tonight. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of receiving end, how's your
What?
Are all the zippers working in your new location, new climate?
Zippers? I'm gonna fucking hunt you down, man. I'm gonna just. I know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do something, and that's gonna be it. I've got your name. You've got mine, but I mean, I might be able to slip across the border. Not saying I will, but douchebag.
Just don't chap your ass on the way here.
Oh, trust me, I'm not going to be driving the Fagwar 6969.
He's going to hop in his Fagwar 6969 and power it up with Orange Man Bad Handball. He's going to find you. He's going to whip out the JM Purple Poker.
I'm not even going to try that one.
Put on his tinfoil hat from Tinfoil Hats or Us and do unspeakable things to you, V.
Yeah, unspeakable is definitely a word.
And then he'll hit you with the memory rock to make sure that you forget.
Oh my god!
Got your
Gentlemen,
first was
gentlemen.
Play Rock, and now it's the Memory Rock.
Oh, fuck. That's gonna put me on par with George W. Bush and his numerous
That's
fucking
our
stupid quotes. Oh my god. Anyway, gentlemen, seriously, I've got to check out because I am running on empty. I had about a 2 hour nap when I came back up, and I'm done. I'm just done. So, good
All
day
right.
to both of you. It has always been a blast, and will continue to be a blast. Oh, good God. But I've got to sign out. I'm sorry, gents.
Yeah, no problem. We still got 3 more topics to go anyway. So yeah, have a good night. Rearson, see you later. Let's move on to the next topic here. Oh, and this one is really interesting. Now, I don't know whether no, I don't think you were with us when we covered there was an app that was there was a website that in Canada was well, it was probably taken down. It was known as DSNOM, and it was naming men who had been guilty of sexual assault or harassment or whatever. And the only problem with this particular site is that any person, any woman could just basically go in there, even if she disliked the guy, and she could report him as being a creepy asshole or whatever, right? Like she could just do that without anything. What I didn't know about this because again, oh wait, one other thing before I get into too much detail about this. In no way is Pierre Polyev linked in with the hockey Canada trial 5. MGTOW is definitely not tied in with, or the red pill is tied in. It's certainly not MGTOW because MGTOW is it's not a female boycott, but it's definitely, you know, I can't think of too many MGTOW guys that would voluntarily step up for a 5-on-1 gangbang, especially if they're post red pill rage. So yeah, that the manosphere is not tied into this either. And yeah, somebody actually did. I actually had to challenge that person on Twitter to back up what they were saying. And by the way, Trump's not involved either. And yet somebody did try to drag Trump into what happened with this. Now, getting back to this T app, what this T app is something very similar to DSNOM. As in, if you date a guy who's creepy or a loser or whatever, you can just simply report this individual anonymously, obviously. Um, and and if a woman checks and he sees the name and the photos and whatever, they'll know what this person looks like and they will quote unquote be able to avoid him. The only problem is that of course there are no checks and balances on the T app. The T app was a little bit lower on scale, but something happened. Some guy somebody realized what the fuck was going on there and realized what there might potential. I keep in mind there are some guys out there that are just genuine creeps, right? But the thing is, again, is that this app allowed you to just slag on some guy anonymously and get away with it, right? And without any proof of anything at all. Going the other way, for instance, and they actually had something like this at one point in the manosphere. They had such high, rigorous standards for reporting like false accusers in women that the site just never took off because it's sort of like, like the legal hurdles to try to report a woman on this report. It was called reporther.com, right? The legal standards for having her on the list was so high that it was almost impossible to get most women on the list unless they had a really long track record. The flip side is, of course, that it wasn't the case the other way. So what ended up happening is that, again, because it's the manosphere now and guys are starting to figure out what the fuck is going on, is that some guy maybe in the manosphere, maybe not, but he hacked into the T app, got all the names, got all the photos, and posted them up for everyone to see. So if you had a date that went badly, or maybe you just pissed off some woman, you could go over. Again, that doesn't apply to me because I haven't been on any dates at all in quite a while. But it's like, you could go on this app and you could take a look and see if your photo was on there. And of course, when Tim Pool was reporting on this and he saw some of the photos of some of the women who were reporting on this, the photos were exactly what you'd think they'd be, right? And ultimately, what it basically came down to is that, you were allowed to anonymously report some guy for whatever. You could lie about him, you could say whatever the fuck you wanted to say about him, and there was nothing that he could do about it, right? So you could basically, and we were just talking about this, make a fucking false accusation about him, and there'd be no way he'd be able to find out until now. So yeah, the T app is getting some serious blowback, obviously, because surprise, surprise, there are some false accusations on there. There are some outright lies. There are some women with an axe to grind against some guy because he didn't fucking like her or whatever, or he doesn't want to bang a fucking fat. I know V's the exception to the rule here, but doesn't want to fucking bang a land whale, and turned her down, and she got really pissy about it, right?
Hey, see, if I were in that situation, I would save that guy a lot of trouble, right?
Yep.
I'm doing men a favor by taking a couple of fatties here and there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. So anyway, bottom line is that this is it's not as openly bad as D Sanam was, but it's still, these women are able to lie and slander these guys if they so choose to, and there's zero accountability. And as we all know, women accountability is like fucking kryptonite to most women, which, by the way, is starting to catch up to them in more ways than one. And, not a big surprise here. Somebody hacked into the app and released the information. And why'd they do it? Because more than likely, either he or some friend of his or group of friends of his found out the hard way what was being said about them and decided that they weren't going to take the shit lying down. Now, were they guilty or not? Maybe, maybe not. But again, the stories of women abusing sites like this and weaponizing sites like this is rampant and has happened often enough that, that the fact that an app like this even exists and that did multiple women, and when I mean by multiple, I mean by the hundreds, go onto this app and lie about a certain fucking guy because they just simply didn't like him. Did that happen, or did they misrepresent the facts? Yeah, absolutely. That probably fucking happened. And yeah, guys now are not going to take that shit sitting down. And they want to scream misogyny. They want to lie. They want to try to say 2 + 2 = 5 or whatever. They can say that all they want to. Bottom line is that, regardless of what the mainstream, the block that feminist sites and the leftist social media sites and what the mainstream media tries to do to run block for them, they're not the only fucking game in town anymore. And because they're not the only game in town anymore, every time these sites have to go to bat over something like this, you're just, all they're doing is they're just simply inspiring individuals to go in and hack a site like T, because I don't have specific proof, but from sheer statistical numbers, probably more than a few women have lied about guys on this app and got away consequence free. And Did it need to be hacked? Yeah, I think it needed to be hacked. And I think you're going to start seeing, like, as this goes along, as the mainstream media continues to lose its power, and as more and more men discover the manosphere and wise the fuck up to what's going on, you're going to start seeing more and more like this, which is probably why, probably in the next 18 to 24 months, which also, I'm going to also point out, that's probably one of the reasons why they wanted the Hockey Canada 5 to be guilty, right? Because they were going to potentially platform that into some type of online misogyny act to try to stifle the manosphere. And, you're going to get stuff like this. And again, right, certain factors in society can run block all they want. It's not going to do them a world of fucking good, because too many people know, and every time they lie or run block for dishonest pieces of shit like this, right, this is what's going to happen. The principle behind T was probably a noble one, but unfortunately they didn't put the safeguards in to actually make it stand up. Oh, and by the way, now that this has been publicly revealed, the creators of the T app are probably looking at a lawsuit or 20, to put it mildly. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah, I think these kind of women are being held up because they're sort of a radical. They're almost like a force of nature. Okay, with the like as you said, women being held accountable. Oh wow, you're not going to see that a lot, because they're not under any pressure to be honest. Not under any pressure to be honorable. They're not. Society does not put pressure on a woman for her moral characteristics. Okay, so that's why you have a lot of these um, morally ambiguous or flat out evil women. Society does not put pressure on them. You're labeled a biatch, and then that's it. That's the extent of how that goes. But a man, yes, a reputation still means something. Uh, chivalry still means something. Having a code conduct that you live by is still a thing. Okay, um, and the easiest way to tear a man down is by attacking his reputation. So it's I see these women though. I see them as pawns. As you were saying, having this anti-misogyny line. I think it's going to go further than that. I think it's going to get to the point to where, because we live in a surveillance state right now, where people understand that or not. It's not just the police. It's not just uh, the feds on your phone lines or on your computers. It's not just the cops with their range R uh, uh, radar devices looking into your home, seeing where you're at. It's not just the drones. It's going to come down to even past your metadata. Okay, who you're talking to, who you had sex with last night. The government already has this kind of information, but of course they want the system to double, triple, quadruple down. It's going to get to the point to where people are just going to start recording their dates. People are going to start recording any interaction they have with any other people. And where's all this information data going to go? Big Corp is going to be right behind that, trying to collect all of it and try to make some money off of it. Big government Well, we all know what they do. So, I think by weaponizing these women and giving them so much power, we're being pushed in that direction, and it needs to stop. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. I'd rather stop dating women altogether than to have the government up in my business. Okay, having to register a marriage license is overkill as is. Okay, that should be something between you and the church, not the government. So, yeah, that's all I got on that one.
Yeah, yeah, we've been getting a lot of. You're going to start to see more and more of this. John the Other, actually, strangely enough, a professor at the University of Alberta, which is not that far away from where I live anymore, by the way, did a study years and years and years ago that said that feminism was on current path. Feminism was going to eventually lose its ability to control the narrative, and what you're starting to see here when you when you look at this is that yeah, they are starting to lose the narrative. Okay, uh collective shout. 10 years ago, collective shout would have been up there jumping for joy and openly gloating publicly about what they did to Steam. Now they can do it privately and quietly, but they have to have lawyers threatening journalists that cover them, and they have to have social media platforms like YouTube and whatever run block for them, because it's if they come out too far out into the open and people find out about them, there's now a manosphere, for instance, that's got open resistance to them. 2016, Jean Gomeshi was found not guilty, and what ended up happening at that point is that the feminists everywhere started screaming bloody murder and acting like he was guilty, and everybody assumed he was guilty, except that he wasn't. He was innocent. He was found not guilty. Now, he was also a swarmy little fuck who sucked up to feminists and whatnot, so there wasn't a whole lot of sympathy for him, right? But I mean, again, they were able to just get away with that and get away unchallenged. Same thing with D. Sanam. They did it, but I don't know whether they took it down or it just disappeared. But I mean, it's same thing there. Same thing with that event. Same thing with being able to pass that misogyny act in Britain, right? Same thing, right? But as it's gone along, and people are getting smarter and smarter and smarter, and the tradcons tried to present this relationship model that anybody in the manosphere could have told them. It's it doesn't fucking matter whether she's a God-fearing fucking Christian woman with conservative values, right? She can still do this stuff to you, right? She can still throw out these false accusations and these false allegations at you and set you up. And look at what Hillary Crowder did to Steven Crowder, right? That whole tradcon model, thanks to Hillary Crowder, whom, by the way, still keeps his last name, even though she tried to set him up, really badly tried to set him up. She used the same lawyer that got Trevor Bauer booted out of Major League Baseball, right? The TradCon model has been debunked, right? And it's and you're just seeing this stuff happen over and over and over and over again. And it's and the same thing with this app, and they were and these women who set this app up were probably told, at some point, right? Like, don't fucking do this. You're leaving yourself open to a lawsuit, or you're going to piss some guy off and he's going to hack your, and you're going to find yourself in legal trouble. Oh, well, no, it's not going to happen. No accountability whatsoever. Well, guess what? Now everything is public. Everything is out in the open, right? Why? Because too many men are aware of what's going on. Too many men know that about the weaponization of accusations. Too many men are aware of the fact that the rape shield law has been weaponized, and it was definitely weaponized in terms of the Hockey Canada trial. And they're seeing this stuff happen, and every time they try to run block for this, it ends up, it just makes their situation worse. So yeah, their situation is getting worse and worse and worse, right? More men are finding out. Men are very tech savvy, much more so than women, right? Even the hackers on the left, like the ones that exposed Give, Send, Go, that was still a guy who did that. You know, there are some female hackers out there, but they're exceedingly rare, right? So yeah, they brought this upon themselves, right? Now, did they actually expose some creeps? Yeah, they probably did. But at the same time, and they also potentially exposed some false accusers. There's eventually going to be a guy or two or three that's going to go on there, that's going to see his face, that's going to go, well, that's not what happened. And they're going to sue the ever-living fuck out of the T app and the owners of the T app because they allowed this to happen. And they did it to themselves, just like how, and ladies, on the off chance that there's any ladies that are actually listening to this, yeah, it's like, if you see fucking women behaving like this, right? Like, yeah, I get it, right? Like, you asked men to call out other men for this type of behavior. You can't necessarily, and I don't see a lot of men doing it, so I'm not going to be so hypocritical as to say you need to start calling women out on this. But what you can do is that you can inform other men around you what that woman is like, and you can inform the other women around them what it's like as well. And you can let that woman know there's going to be consequences, and you can, like, while you don't necessarily have to get right in her face about it, what you can do though is that you can let your immediate social group know what is going on with this woman and what she's doing to other men, and that this behavior, whether you like it or not, given the collective way women have been acting over the past few years, is going to reflect on them, especially if they choose to remain quiet. And with that, I'm done. You already covered this one. So yeah, we're going to move on to the next one here. Let me just timestamp this. Oh, look at this. All right. So when Donald Trump came into power, right? Like, during the election, he specifically mentioned about educational reform and about how certain institutions of higher learning were promoting woke bullshit and wokeism. Now, and of course, there was also that situation where you had the dean of Harvard getting exposed for plagiarism, and of course, the way that two of the three deans that had to go and testify in front of Congress, who were allowing quote unquote anti-Semitic activity and basically outright Jew hate organizations on their campus, while at the same time being hypocritical and blocking other groups from organizing, was unconstitutional. And like, two of those three deans had to resign. And again, I'm not just specifically saying that about the Jews in particular, but they do seem to be I mean, not every, I'm going to say this again, not every person who is a Jew is in on it. There's not a Jew behind every fucking blade of grass. They are not single-handedly responsible for every shitty thing that's going on in your life or in society. Right? So knock it the fuck off. The issue here is that Trump knew that there was going to be a university somewhere that was going to get a little bit too permissive and was going to try to stand up to him over the issue. And sure enough, Columbia University stepped up and took the bait. They allowed it, and they allowed it to the point where they were actually threatening white students, Jewish students, anybody who disagreed with them. They were getting violent. They were getting abusive to staff. They went right over the top. Trump took them to court, won, and even after they won, Columbia still really didn't back down. They tried to appeal it and whatever. Well, guess what happened? They lost the appeal. They're now down $221 million. That's a huge hit for a Ivy League institution. They lost a shit ton of their patrons and their sponsors over this. And now they finally had to start revoking degrees and expelling students and causing international students to be deported, which is exactly what I suspect the Trump administration wanted. They wanted one of these universities, and they were kind of hoping it was going to be Harvard, but it wasn't. It ended up being Columbia, right? That one of these universities was going to be fucking stupid enough to hold its ground and allow this stuff to happen because Trump derangement syndrome. Well, guess what? Columbia became the canary in the coal mine, right? Columbia fucked around and found out, right? Now every other university in a blue state, or even university towns in red states, they're not gonna be so stupid. They're not going to try and do this. They're not going to be quite so permissive, right? They're not going to allow open calls to action to kill the fucking Jews on their territory, because an open call to action is a violation of the First Amendment. And yeah, I am specifically talking about the Jews here because that is the group that these people have been targeting, which, by the way, is also one of the reasons why certain factions on the right have been kind of quiet about this, because there's a lot of people in our area, and I could think of one guy right off the bat that literally almost does buy into that Jew behind every blade of grass. But yeah, Columbia University fucked around, found out, and now they're being made an example of, that the other universities are going to take note of. And again, they're going to, of course, some of these universities are going to try to hide the activities a little bit more, which of course is only going to buy them time. But yeah, Columbia finally had to cave in and finally had to do the right thing. And don't know whether Columbia is ever going to recover from this, but I mean, like, it's specifically the Ivy League institutions in the United States and some of the establishment universities out on the West Coast. I'm talking about UCLA, Berkeley, University of California, the Washington, places like that. Those universities need to stand up and take notice, because even if they are in blue states that are sympathetic to them, it's still the federal government, and they're still getting a lot of research grants and a lot of money from the federal government to conduct research. Some of it is very legitimate, right? And if they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to lose their funding. And that is exactly what happened with Colombia. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to V.
Yeah. Well, I think you pretty much again covered it all. But I will say, I am very, I like freedom of speech.
So do I.
I,
Continue.
I mean, even for those who shouldn't have it, it's for everybody. But I like for those who will abuse it. I, I like for my enemy to declare themselves.
Yeah, well, the best answer to hate speech, technically, which doesn't exist, but the best answer to hate speech is more speech.
Well, I love those guys who will drive around with the rebel flag painted on their truck, or just flying about, uh, 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 you know, as a flag on their vehicle. you know, I like those guys. It's kept clear. You're over there, I'm over here. You represent that, and I represent me. I like it when the lines are clearly drawn, because it's these quiet people. You know what they say? It's the quiet people you gotta watch out for. You don't know what they stand for. You may think somebody is nice and you know kind of person you let your daughter take out on a date. In reality, that person wants to put you on his kitchen table for dinner. So I love it when people express themselves. Yes, let yourselves be known, please, so that we as a society can deal with you, or I personally can deal with you, or don't have to deal with you. And that's a choice I reserve as well. So yeah, uh, Trump is awesome for doing what he did, and I would like you know I would like the situation to be addressed by other universities. I mean, this should be like a case study. Like, this is a I won't say a public institution, but it's a nationally, internationally recognized educational institution, and they're having anti-social uprisings. This needs to be monitored. Because I think something can definitely be learned from the situation, and there are definitely some people that need to be punished in the situation. So yeah, let's just keep following the story, and that's all I got.
Yeah. Again, the best answer to hate speech is more speech. Again, right, the issue that happened with University of Pennsylvania and with Harvard and with MIT and specifically with Columbia, but there's other ones. Duke has been mentioned. There's been University of Washington's been aimed quite a bit. Berkeley's been not so bad. Um, yeah, there's a few places where it's gotten really bad. There's a University of Texas at Austin's also another one that gets mentioned quite frequently. There's universities out there that definitely are some serious violators. Syracuse also has come up a few times. You know, it's going. What's happening with these universities and what is taking place here is that when they choose to engage in this activity, they not only smear or when they knowingly participate in stuff like the vaccine stuff and whatever, right? They not only smear the university, but they also cause actual legit fucking science to be questioned. So while all this is going on, flat Earth is gaining traction again, for instance, right?
You're kidding.
Yeah, oh yeah, flat Earth is starting to gain traction again. And so, well, the science says, yeah, well, look what the fucking science said around vaccines. Look what the science is saying. Look at the 1419 project or whatever, or the 1619 project, and all of those, all of that fake science around gender studies and the McKinsey study and data and society and whatever, and all of those other groups and all of those other fake studies. And it's like when they do that, they actually don't not only discredit themselves, but they also discredit the institutions, the whole institution of academia and academic research and science itself. And when that happens, it opens the door to bot science. It opens the door to junk science. It opens the door to, it decreases the credibility of anybody with a university degree. Oh, you have a degree from Harvard. Oh, hey, wasn't that the university where they allowed those individuals to openly engage in hate speech and suppress the opposition and allowed people at that university to openly call for genocide against a certain group? Yeah, that university. Yeah, that was the university. Well, why the fuck should I believe anybody that comes out of that university? Oh, you mean you have a degree from an Ivy League university and you have the fucking nerve to sit there in Congress or in Senate and try to look the senator straight in the eye with your Ivy League degree and say gender is a spectrum? Oh, so you have a degree from MIT or whatever in hard fucking science or whatever. You have a degree from the same science degree from the same university. Yeah, well, that person over there is spouting off that bullshit. So the fact that you have a degree, a hard science degree from that same university, why the fuck should I believe you? Why should I believe anything you have to say? Right? Well, it's academic research. Well, it's not fucking. Well, look at the fucking academic research you're funding. Right? Like, how do I know that you're not being funded by these same idiots? Right? Like, when they allow this stuff to take place, it reflects on academia as a whole. Right? Anybody who comes out of the University of the Columbia, for instance, had as a Columbia University back when journalism was actually still respected, had a brilliant journalism program. They also have a really brilliant law program. But guess what? Now, because of everything else that's been going on and the way these universities have been conducting themselves, people are going to look at these universities and go, hey, that was the university that allowed all this bullshit to take place. So, you have a degree in journalism, huh? Yeah, well, that'd be the same journalists that lied about COVID, that lied about J6, that lied, for instance, what's taking place right now with the Hockey Canada trials. Those journalists, right? Like the ones with Trump derangement syndrome so bad that they will just say something and hope you don't fact check it. Those journalists, you see, your actions in a certain group reflect upon the actions of everybody else in that group, which, by the way, is one of the reasons why. And I don't know why they picked Andrew Tate, because Andrew Tate was never the biggest guy in the manosphere. He was just the most publicly well known. The reason why they target Andrew Tate, because in smearing Andrew Tate, they smear the entire manosphere, except, of course, right, their lies get exposed, and when they get exposed, they lose legitimacy. And it's like, again, that legitimacy is measured against the collective group of legitimacy of all the, take for instance, of all the other journalists or all the other academics at a university, right? And at some point, it reaches critical mass when you produce delusional idiots with gender theory and all of these other junk science stuff coming out, and their credibility is based on the combined pool of all of the other academics that are at that university. But in doing what they're doing, it takes away from the credibility of those other academics, right? For instance, and I will say this part and then we'll move on to the next topic. There was a guy that I was up around Alberta separation, and the guy had a university degree. And he was like saying, well, nobody in my group is in favor of Alberta leaving. I only know one guy, and he's only lukewarm about it. And I have to actually point out to him, it's like, yeah, dude, you're a professor or TA up at the university. And he says, well, what the hell does that prove? And then I pointed out to him, right? You have academics promoting this. You have academics defending illegals. You have academics defending pedophilia. You have academics doing all of this other stuff. And the fact that you happen to be an academic and you're doing this around, say, Alberta separation, don't know what the hell happened there. We just
I was going to say, did you?
just blinked out for a second. I don't know what the hell happened. About the fact that you're doing this around Alberta separation, the fact that you're defending this stuff without actually looking at the facts of what's going on, and you're not bothering to go outside of your little academic safe space to ask these questions, that reflects on you, and that reflects on every other university professor that you have at that university when you refuse to do that. Now, you're a smart person, so you should be able to figure that out. And he stopped arguing with me after that. But that's what's happening. And, you're starting, there was one university, for instance, and I thought this was, I can't remember what the name of it was, but one of the students got caught shoplifting from this bakery. And this bakery caught the person, arrested this person, and the person tried to play the race card because he was black. And what ended up happening is that a whole bunch of professors at this university signed this petition over this kid who had literally, because I know the process for catching shoplifters. You can't just grab somebody because you think they stole something. If they stole something, you have to know that they stole it, right? Like, you can't just arrest them on a whim. But they went ahead and they signed this petition and smeared this bakery that had been offered, this family bakery that had been operating for 3 generations, to the point where it damaged their business. The bakery went back to the university, saw this petition, saw how many actual quote unquote academics just signed it without bothering to actually research the facts, just because this kid just happened to be black and it was racially involved. Never mind the fact that this kid actually did get caught for shoplifting and was caught and charged with shoplifting, or in this case, it's usually theft under 2,000 is what the charge is. It's a misdemeanor. And they tried to play the race card on this to get away with it. And a lot of the professors at the university just believed this kid because racism. And I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist, because, yeah, it does. But to use it in that way and to have, it's not so much about the kid, it's about the fact that there were so many professors at this university who signed this petition but were too fucking lazy to actually go and check. And the university got sued for tens of millions of dollars over it. And I don't even know if the university is still up and running now. But that's my point. And I think I'm done on this unless V has something more to add, but we're going to move on to the next topic here.
Next topic, please.
All right. So the last topic of the night, and this is the Hollywood content. So there's three, and I haven't actually gone to see any of these movies. Not because I can't go see them, it's because they just don't have the budget to go see them right now. Superman, Jurassic Park, and Fantastic Four. Now, two of those three movies are doing quite well. Jurassic Park has cleared something like, hold on a second here. I took a look at this. Jurassic World has cleared $718 million. It had a $166 million production budget. So yeah, it absolutely made a smashing profit. Fantastic Four, which just came out this week, also, and this is always a good sign with a movie, also cleared almost its entire production budget on its first weekend. So it too is going to make a profit. Now, I haven't said not so much about Jurassic World, but about the Fantastic Four. There was a whole bunch of stuff being said about it being super woke, and of course the Silver Surfer being a woman, and that Sue Reed was going to be a girl boss, and she was going to denigrate. Sue Reed was going to be the hero and make the other three look weak in comparison. Well, apparently, the Critical Drinker said no, none of that happened. Now, it's not a super brilliant movie. Like, it's better than most of the stuff that the MCU came out of. So it's a solidly entertaining piece of entertainment. They didn't go with the tried and true Marvel formula on this movie, and it worked out for them. This movie is probably going to it's not going to make the profit of Jurassic World, but it is going to do okay. Superman, on the other hand, has also had a very good box office. The Superman movie has cleared, as of right now, $502 million. The only problem with the Superman movie, though, is that their budget was so bloated that in order to even get close to a profit, they have to clear something like damn near $750 million to actually turn a profit. So even though the Superman movie is getting good box office, it's not getting a good enough box office because the budget was so bloated. Now, among the other things that has occurred with the Superman movie is the fact that, they went ahead and they allowed James Gunn to make all of these woke comments like, oh, Superman is an immigrant as opposed to being a refugee who was basically fired off the planet of Krypton and whatever. And oh yeah, blah blah blah, this blah blah blah. James Gunn was being, by the way, James Gunn was also incidentally the guy who made all of those creepy posts about fucking underage children back in the early 2010s, among other things. So the movie, even though it is making quite a bit of money, it is going to lose anywhere between 150. Currently, it's going to lose estimates between 150 and $200 million, even though it's probably going to bring in close to 600, probably somewhere between 6 and 650 in terms of its box office, which should have been enough to do it. Now, if you factor in all of the other little wokeisms that occurred around Superman, would that have been enough to guarantee it a profit, or would it have been enough to at least guarantee potential be break even? Because it's not going to break even, and it's not going to break even because it was a combination of things. They spent too much money. James Gunn couldn't keep his fucking mouth shut, and they tried to market it as a woke movie to a certain degree. Maybe not. I mean, they're getting smart and they're not doing it nearly so much anymore, but they're still doing it. And what's going on now is that, you know, this is a prime example of, if you're going to continue on with something like Jurassic World is doing just fine, even though, they've got Scarlett Johansson playing a girl boss. They're still doing fine, right? So obviously there's something about that particular movie that she's not it was just probably potentially the trailers that portrayed her as a girl boss or whatever. But again, right, like they're starting to figure out the fact that it's like that. The girl boss trope just does not fucking work, right? Also spending 250 to 350 million dollars on a movie is not a good idea. Like a movie that is clearing, as of right now, I'm looking at Box Office Mojo, $502.7 million. A movie that is clearing that kind of money should be in the red. Should probably be in the black, but it's not. And it's potentially, I haven't seen it, and I haven't actually been to a movie in a while now, which is kind of weird for me. The movie's not in the black, right? And it's not in the black because, I mean, it's a combination of things. Now, the good news is that Fantastic Four is likely the best superhero movie this year. It's not great. It's got a different look from the previous MCU movies that have come out in the past. And oh yeah, Pedro Pascal got accused of sexually harassing women while he was on his publicity tour. And it's not really affected the bottom line on the sales at all. And again, I have a very slightly negative opinion about Pedro Pascal. But, you can't say.
I'm having a hard time picturing him. Is he the? He was on SNL last year, right?
Yeah, he was on SNL. He played the man. He was also on The Last of Us, and he also played the man, the character in The Mandalorian, which was also not a bad.
Yes, that's
yeah,
him.
yeah, that's him. So he's done an okay. He's done an okay job, right? The issue here is the fact that, I mean, right, it wasn't one thing that doomed the Superman movie, but I mean, it was a combination of things. But mostly, I think it's like, if you're gonna spend $300 million on a movie, man, like, you cannot take chances. You cannot have your showrunner going around making fucking massively brain dead woke fucking statements to the public about it, right? Like, kudos to the MCU. Although there were rumors floating around about it, like the MCU, when it came to the Fantastic Four, kept their fucking mouths shut. Same thing with Jurassic World. I mean, the trailers had Scarlett Johansson playing a girl boss, but they kept their mouths shut, right? The late Hulk Hogan, one of the things that he said is that, I mean, although it killed him to have to keep his mouth shut, right? He kept his mouth shut when it came to politics, when he was wrestling. And the reason why he kept his mouth shut when it came to wrestling was because he knew that he was potentially alienating the audience, and Vince McMahon probably wouldn't like that very much. So yeah, um, I kind of feel bad because obviously, if your movie is if your box office is $500 million or $500 million, and you're still not in the black, you know, like, yeah, I'm sorry. It's time to get a new fucking showrunner because you shouldn't have spent that. You shouldn't have spent in the north of $300 million on the production budget because it's like, yeah, like Superman is going to probably break about 600 million, maybe even 700 million, but it's going to be, they might fluke in to a potentially kind of sort of break even scenario, but not very likely. And yep, they did it to themselves. And with that, last topic of the night, so take us out.
Hulk Hogan's he's dead.
Hulk Hogan's dead, man.
Oh, when did that happen?
2 or 3 days ago.
Wow.
I thought about adding him in as a topic, him and Ozzy Osbourne dying.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of other stuff that was going on, which kind of superseded it. And it's like, I don't want art, even though I have a film background, I don't want this to turn into a fucking Hollywood. I mean, if you want to, we can maybe say something on 452 about Hulk Hogan and Ozzy Osbourne, but it's like, yeah, no, he's been dead for a couple of days now.
He's not worth it. Screw that racist bastard. I hope he's taking black penis in hell right now. Anyways, yeah, I should know. All right, that's cool. He likes you. He calls you brother, so long as you're not a brother. Yeah, screw that guy. So, yeah, but he did stay under the radar for as long as he could. I remember watching as a kid. He had this freaking movie, right? I watched it. I tried to convince myself that I liked it.
Oh no, I think I know the movie you're talking about. Yeah, that was campy as fuck, that movie.
Yeah, I tried to convince myself that I liked it, and I would probably watch more, but that just didn't happen. But anyways, I'm, you hit on a point, and it's something I've been wondering for quite some time now. It's like, if these movies aren't making their money, why are these studios spending somewhere upwards to $500 million for a movie? Why are they doing that? When you got rough political times like now, you you hunker down, you get a budget, and you penny pinch, and yeah, like you said, keep everybody's mouth shut, and try to make as much money as you can. Spending $150 million on a movie, on a superhero movie, I think that should be like the new standard. I mean, these effects, they're common now. These studios, I mean, it shouldn't cost so much anymore these days versus 10 years ago. Okay, so I mean, everybody's gone to college, so they can do this stuff. Everybody's got a graphic design degree. Okay, let open up the doors a little bit. Let people out there with some real ideas, who may not be so experienced, but at least they have some drive, some passion, some ideas. Maybe get something out of that. You got to cut your corners where you can. The economy sucks. The political climate sucks. The only thing that's rapidly improving is the technology. So Yeah, take advantage of that. Spend some money on that. Sure, why not? Get some. Uh, if you're gonna have some polarizing people in your movie, have some people on the opposite side of the fence. Let the support, the main character can be a freaking staunch conservative. Let the supporting character be a wild left wing nut. You know, bring everybody in so people can't say, "Oh, you support this," or "Oh, you're pushing this agenda." Get every, there are ways of continuing forward without having to buy into everyone else's narrative and just stick to the game that you're good at. And that's making movies. So just stick to it. That's what they need to do. I think that's fairly simple. I think that's an obvious sort of a breakdown, but society, I don't know what's wrong with the world. The obvious seems to be so aloof to people. And it's just everywhere. It's not just the movie industry. It's not just politics. I mean, it's everywhere. But anyways, I don't want to get into some humankind existential rant. But yeah, that's I think it's fairly simple. $150 million, make your money back. You can guarantee that. Anybody can guarantee. I mean, on an opening weekend, how many weekends is a movie out in theaters? Like 8.
Sometimes 12. It depends.
Okay, so
Like for instance, some movies just have legs. Like for instance, Black Panther. Since you remember that one, Black Panther was a movie that had some legs to it. Like it actually lasted in theaters for quite a while. But
yeah,
those are exceptions rather than the rule.
right. So I mean, it's you gotta you gotta play the game smart. They're not doing it smart. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right, so I want to thank everybody for listening tonight. Yep, I we will. I will be back. Hopefully, there will be some resolution to some of the stuff that I'm currently going through by this time next week. I'm going to like I said, and V keeps wanting me to do this until I get the work situation and the fucking rent covered and all of that sort of stuff. Like that's gonna or get a new different job. Like that's going to have to take priority over doing additional episodes, at least over the short run. Once that's resolved, then because I'm very keen on doing this P Diddy episode. As it is right now, it's everything I can do just to keep RPN going.
I hear you, brother. I've got some issues myself. I'm gonna be in and out of the hospital and doctor's office this week. Next week, I'm gonna be traveling across the country, and I'm gonna be closer to you once again, back up in Wisconsin. Probably within the next 2-3 weeks.
Yep. Okay, so anyway, that's it for tonight. Thank you everybody for listening. For the 4 whole people, the 1 person on Kick, the 2 on Twitch, and we have between about 2 and 5 listening on Rumble. I always get a lot of traffic after the fact, so have a listen. And yeah, I will try to get 49, 50, and 51 uploaded this week again. Right, I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life right now that's kind of taking priority. And I just yawned. That's an indicator that it's time to call it a night. So I'm going to call it a night, and I will see you next Sunday.